On the menu today, Thomas Keller's Yabba Dabba Do. I'm just not gonna give up without a fight. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my home. Get comfortable. Thomas Keller is in the house in book form, French Laundry cookbook. I gotta say, I've had the time of my culinary life cooking recipes out of this one. Highs and lows, good food, and there was a grilled cheese. Around 8 or 9 chips on the plate. There is a seed in my consommé. How dare there be a seed in my consommé? Kids would call that mid. This one though is gonna be not that. Roasted rib steak with golden chanterelles. More on that shortly. Pommes Anna and Bordelaise sauce. He calls it Yabba Dabba Do for obvious reasons. And as per usual with a TK recipe, there's a lot going on. So I gotta get to work. I'm gonna keep conversation to a minimum. Just joking. Let's do it. So right off the bat here, I start off with the double cut rib steak, also known as a côte de boeuf or a tomahawk steak, right? This is supposed to be a 2.5 pounder. I think it's closer to 3, but who's counting? And what I did the night before was season this generously, salt and pepper, and then I had it in the fridge. The whole point of this is that this needs to be Frenched, so that it has that like Fred Flintstone kind of vibe to it, showcasing the bone in this cut. So you have to like cut off the meat and the fat around that so that it looks like the part. When I picked this up, it was already done, but if it wasn't, you have to request that from the butcher. Also, keep the string around it, because that holds its shape during the cooking. Now I removed it from the fridge 1 hour before cooking. It needs to be brought down to room temperature because if the meat is cold, the cooking time will be increased and the outside will be overcooked by the time the inside reaches its proper temperature. All right, Bordelaise sauce coming right up. And what on earth is that? It's a red wine sauce using up a wine from the Bordeaux region, France, such as a Cabernet Sauvignon. That'll do fine. Now this is a Cab Sauv, but it's from the Niagara Peninsula region in Ontario. So would you call this a Niagara sauce? That's not gonna make it into the video. So into a saucepan, just 1 cup worth. Okay, well, I wanna have a good time while I'm cooking, so it's only 1 cup of wine in the sauce, and then I'll take half a cup. We still got the rest to share. Cheers. Some sliced vegetables, 1/3 cup of shallot and half a cup of carrot. 1/4 cup of sliced mushrooms, 2 tablespoons of sliced garlic, like 10 sprigs of parsley, 6 peppercorns, no more, no less, 2 sprigs of thyme. How about a bay leaf? How about 3? I'm not driving. Seriously. So because I have made a number of Thomas Keller recipes, this is something that I have figured out I always need on standby. So whenever I see it available somewhere, I pick it up, even if it costs a pretty penny. This is 1 cup of veal stock. Splash it in my eye. So 1 cup of veal stock. Bring that all to a boil? Nope, I was supposed to bring everything to a boil but the veal stock and the peppercorns. Well, how do you screw that up? Add the peppercorns and the veal stock after you brought the wine to a simmer and had the liquid almost evaporated. So I didn't do that. First step of the process here, taking the wind out of my sails. It's gonna try to, I'm not gonna let it. No sense doing this if I'm gonna do it wrong right at the beginning. So I'm not gonna be able to use any of that because that's not how you make the sauce the way that he wants you to. You want the alcohol in the wine to reduce down. You want a concentrated wine flavor, then you add the veal stock afterward to get the richness and the savoriness, right? That's what I'm thinking. So why would I follow through with that if that's not... Since I have all the ingredients, I must redo. So the cup of red wine, all those terrific vegetables, 10 sprigs of parsley, 2 sprigs of thyme, and a bay leaf. How about 2? You know why. Bring it up to a simmer and then simmer until almost all the liquid has evaporated. Nearly all evaporated. There's still some in there, but yeah, it's concentrated the wine flavor. Now I can add in my cup of veal stock, as well as 6 peppercorns. Any more than that and you're expired. Simmer that for 10 to 15 minutes. Today's episode is sponsored by Thyme. I'm cooking up an expensive cut of meat today, so naturally, I'm terrified of overcooking it. This is coming up all the time when I'm cooking, so having like a reliable meat thermometer seems like a no-brainer. This is the Thyme Sync Gold. It is a wireless dual probe thermometer, and I'm just gonna use this chicken as an example. I can monitor different parts of this thing at the same time without constantly opening up the oven, slowly destroying my dinner. And it's ridiculously high tech. Each probe has 6 different sensors built into it, so it's constantly checking temperatures from multiple points for super accurate readings. And the signal of this thing is insanely strong. Like, I can monitor the cooking live from anywhere in my house. I'm outside right now. It's beautiful. My favorite part is the smart base. Like, I don't even need my phone with me. Of course there's an app. There's always an app. I just like to have the base close by. I just glance over it. Instantly, I know exactly what's going on. So with Father's Day coming up, this very well may be the perfect gift for someone who loves cooking, grilling, gadgets. Check out the Thyme Sync Gold below. Use my code ANTICHEF. Get yourself an extra discount. Gotta get back to work. Shall we move on to the Pommes Anna? Potato cake. French potato cake. Now, I've made one once before on Jamie and Julia. It is very potatoey and buttery. Now, I have leftover potatoes from my mashed potato cage match. Yukon Gold, it comes to exactly 2 pounds worth, but before we get to the potatoes, need a small saucepan, cup of chicken stock, 10 pitted prunes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There. They should just be covered there. Now I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer, cook for 20 minutes. Does anyone know what gray salt is? Gray salt. When I was looking this over, I thought it was just salt, but now I'm like, huh? Gray salt, that must mean something. So it's quite literally gray salt, like that's what it is. I don't know these things. A moist, unrefined sea salt harvested from coastal ponds. It gets its distinctive gray color and rich flavor from trace minerals and clay in the salt beds. It's widely used as a gourmet finishing and cooking salt. Well, that's what I need. I don't have it. I have kosher salt, I have sea salt, I have pink Himalayan salt, I have flaky salt. I don't have gray salt. Can I just order it and someone drive it to me? Atlantic gray salt. I can just order it. Be here in 29 minutes. Wouldn't be a potato recipe on this show without a cameo from one of my best friends, the Rotato Express. I love that thing, don't get me wrong, but with smaller potatoes, I feel like this just is the way. To slice these potatoes into cylinders, 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter. Now, I found that I have this cookie cutter that's exactly that shape, but most of the potatoes are already that diameter, so this is kind of a pointless exercise. Gray salt is in the building. Can we just pause the potatoes for a moment here? We'll get back to them before they start browning, but I gotta proceed with the salt. So if you ever wanted to know what gray salt looks like, the chicken stock has evaporated, only the prunes remain. What we're gonna do, I've finally chopped the prunes. There's the prunes, and you add in a tablespoon of minced shallot and just gray salt to taste. Gray salt. This is such a big deal for me. I don't know why I picked it up when I could have just used, this is probably too much. Now you have the gray salt in case it ever rears its ugly head again. Could use a little more gray salt. 6 tablespoons of clarified butter. Now today is the day that I opt for the ghee. See, I don't have to make it myself, and this is a time saver. So this is what I have today. All the haters gonna hate. And I need around 6 tablespoons worth. And with the ghee, clarified butter, I'm gonna melt it. Let's get dangerous. So really as thin as possible for these, even thinner than that, 1/16 of an inch. Bowl me, thank you. and fill that up with cold water. There, how about that? So for my mandolin, that's as thin as I can go. That's gonna be good enough. As long as you're focused and paying attention to what you're doing, the nubs of your fingers will stay intact. I'm trying not to take my time doing this because he says to have the potatoes in the cold water just for a minute because you only want to remove some of the starch. So I'm going as quickly as I can, but at the same time, don't go too quickly or the whole world's gonna end for your fingers. So I've done this before where I washed too much of the potato starch off and then it was just no good. The potatoes weren't sticking to each other and the whole thing was a failure. So I'm trying to avoid that. I did a bulk dry. I'll probably do an individual dry as we go along too. Whoops. But I want to move quickly so that the potatoes don't brown and the starch stays intact and yada, yada, yada. 8-inch non-stick skillet. That's what I'm going to use. It needs to be oven friendly, which most definitely this is. 2 tablespoons of the clarified melted butter. I'm gonna dry the potatoes as I go along here, but here goes the first one. Oh, there's already one in there. And then that one goes into the center of the pan, and then I place them all around. Lay the potato slices around the edge of the pan, and then we're overlapping, of course. And then when the entire bottom of the pan is covered, sprinkle with a little kosher salt. Should I use the gray salt? Tempting, but I need to follow the recipe. Kosher salt, pepper, and then we repeat the process to form a second layer. Spread half of the prune mixture over the potatoes. Careful. Spread it? How do you spread it? I don't want to... You gotta be careful with that spread. Okay, he wants me to spread it, but I got a really nice thing going on with these potatoes right now, and it's gonna jostle them all about. If you're careful, it does kind of work. Okay, and you gotta leave a 1/2-inch border around. Perfect, and then another 2 layers of potatoes. My allergies are driving me nuts. All right, so we gotta season a little more. So pepper, salt, and then the remaining prune filling. Spread it carefully, cautiously. Repeat with 2 more layers of potatoes. Season one last time. Pour the remaining clarified butter, which should be around a 1/4 cup worth. And told you it was buttery. A lot of leftover potatoes, so I'm gonna have to save these for something else. Let's get this over a medium-low heat. Cook for 3 to 4 minutes, medium-low. So making sure none of that prune filling is escaping and using a spoon to gently shape it. Look at that butter. Operation remove some of the butter because that's absolutely insane. That's like a 1/4 cup worth of butter that I just took out and you don't even notice. Into the oven, 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Good luck. While the Pommes Anna is in the oven, I gotta strain the Bordelaise sauce. Bowl me, no, not a bowl, I need a strainer. That'll do, because I need the small saucepan and strain. When all said and done, you should have around a 1/2 cup worth of Bordelaise sauce. He says it needs to be a sauce consistency. I feel like it could be reduced a bit more, so why don't we reduce that while we do other things. Well browned, crisp, got it. Moving on to the main event here, which is the beef. Heavy oven-proof pan. I'm using the biggest surface area I got. You see, it needs to be big enough that you can sear it. It will be. Obviously the bone is an issue here, but you can't sear something on this, so wrap the bone in aluminum foil. You pat it dry, but it's been hanging at room temperature for the longest time that it is dry. Because if it is not dry, it's not gonna sear. But let's just keep it over there for the time being because I need to do things with this. Yep. Why did I put that in my pocket? Okay, enough canola oil to cover the base of the pan. So you want it on a high heat, but that might be a little too hot. I'm scared. This is what we paid for here. 4 to 5 minutes on the one side until it's got a nice dark brown crusty side to it. And you flip it over another 2 to 3 minutes. So it is, yeah, a high heat. Now I can't talk to you while this is happening because I got the fan on. I gotta put the Ziploc bags over the smoke detectors. I'll see you on the other side, okay? No word of a lie, it's the smokiest it's ever been in here. What I'm gonna do is remove this guy for a moment, pour out most of the oil, adding into the pan 4 tablespoons of butter. That's gonna melt fast. All right, terrific, terrific. Now, let's do this. So I'm gonna take my tomahawk into the pan with the butter and my thermometer. So I'm gonna take both of the Typhusync Gold probes into one side of the beef here, into the other side. There we go. Not touching the bone. All right, so I'm gonna get this is gonna go into the oven, 450 degrees Fahrenheit, the same as the Pommes Anna. And I gotta baste every 5 minutes with the butter until the temperature reads 115 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna be 20-25 minutes, less or more, we shall see. Good luck. So there's no rest for the wicked over here. While that's in the oven, I have to focus on the golden chanterelle mushrooms. It's very well documented in my video from last week, what happened with those mushrooms. I could not find fresh chanterelle mushrooms. I need the chanterelle, and I can't find them in this whole garden. So instead I have dried chanterelle mushrooms, and I also have just like a mushroom medley hodgepodge of various mushrooms. I gotta rehydrate these suckers, so into some warm water for like 20 minutes. I really don't know what's about to happen here. I've never really done this with dried mushrooms before, so I don't know what it turns into. That's why I have a backup. It's go time! Okay, so I've taken it out while it is rare. And while it's resting, the internal temperature will rise up to, well, the cook that I'm after. I'm thinking like a medium rare. That would be nice. Where am I going with this? So while that is resting, we're gonna move on to these mushrooms. I gotta drain these dried chanterelles. Just squeeze them a little bit to get some of that moisture, but the rest will be removed while I'm cooking, I'm sure. So what is that, like half a cup? And then if I take some of this medley here and just kind of, what do you think? Cut into 1-inch pieces. Pan on a medium heat with a tablespoon of butter. Butter's melted, in go the mushrooms. Add some pepper, salt. Cooking these until the moisture has evaporated and they look a little toasty. The time has come to serve the meal. And how about that one? There's the Bordelaise sauce. So the Pommes Anna has reheated in the oven, 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes until it's scorching hot again. And we're gonna need that. So here we go, inverting. Let's invert this. That's not coming, no! Son of a gun! I'm not crying, it's just smoky in here. The damage is okay. You can piece that back together easily. The only thing I'm really alarmed at is how much butter is on that plate. We will slop it up. So much butter. You can't stop the butter, so just embrace it. Let's bring the tomahawk over. Remove the probes. Remove tin foil. Cut off the string. Mushrooms. I'm just making this up. This is how I want to display it today. Surround them, yeah. Everything is looking rather brown, so some parsley goes a long way. The pièce de résistance. He says some thyme sprigs. A sprig there, and some sprigs there. Order up! This is against the grain. Yes! Are you kidding me? That looks beautiful! Come on. This looks very, very good.
Hello?
Just a sec, just about to take my first bite of this. Hi.
I'm so hungry.
Impromptu visit from Christy. moments after taking the first bite. So it's too early to say how good it is, but it's good.
I wasn't planning on coming on your show. I'm starving.
Can you smell it?
Yeah.
Upstairs?
And I love steak.
How smoky is it in here?
I can barely see, like, visibility is low.
So I guess you could have the first bite, which I already kind of did, but this is the official first bite. Actually, I can't just stand there and watch. I'm gonna eat too. This is the Bordelaise sauce.
Wow, that crisp on the outside's so nice. I tried the potato. Wow. Wow. Is this Thomas Keller?
Yeah, it's called the Yabba Dabba Do because of the Fred Flintstone bone here. Bam, bam! Did you say hi to the camera?
Oh, hi. No, I just came straight for the steak. I was gonna say, this is, I think, the second best steak you've ever made.
What's the first?
After the other Thomas Keller steak you made.
The skirt steak? Yeah. A well-cooked, well, not well-cooked, but a good steak is a good steak, and this is very good.
The cut is so buttery. The amount of fat in it is like perfect.
Yeah, and the great thing about this recipe, and which is kind of special for a Thomas Keller recipe, is it was incredibly easy to follow. Like, I didn't have any issues today at all. Everything was just kind of a cinch as long as you read the words.
The mushrooms may be a little bit crispy, but the potatoes a little crispy. But I kind of like it.
The potatoes match exactly kind of his, so I think it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, it's like rustic.
I like the crisp though, because it gives that little crunch. It's just so buttery.
Oh my God, I'm supposed to be going out for dinner. Stop me from eating this whole thing. All right.
Thanks for coming by.
Bye, bon appetit.
All right, who's next, everyone? Who's next? That's why you came downstairs.
Well, that was
The baby monitor.
secondary motivation. Oh, here, the mic. Goodbye.
Goodbye. That is so good too. The Bordelaise sauce, it's sweet. Oh, it's rich, savory. Everything about this is just lovely. Obviously this beef is the absolute highlight. I've never cooked a Côte de Boeuf tomahawk roasted rib steak before. I was intimidated, and at the same time it was very expensive. Like, I mean, 70 plus bucks for this. So you gotta do a good job, and I think this recipe gave me the appropriate instructions to do so. Gotta say that this ended on a positive note. I'm very thankful for that. It was a good use of my time, money, and except for the gray salt. That was a waste of money. I think it came to around 20 bucks in the end. Complete waste of money. That's it. That's all. This was Jamie and Thomas Keller. Bon appetit. Au revoir. Hey, quick question.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on the prune filling in the Pommes Anna?
There was a sweetness to it, actually.
A sweetness, yeah.
But not really.
There's a prune filling. I just failed to mention that. It has gray salt in it. It's the gray salt.
I don't know what that is.
Me neither. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.